Two friends get together so that they can try things. You're invited to this podcast so that they can try things. Nick and Marcus doing a podcast so that they can try this.
Hello! Oh man, it's so good to see your face. Hello, welcome to Now Try This, the podcast where two best friends. Hold on, I'm not done talking.
Okay,
best
sorry.
friends get together to talk about their favorite things. Okay, now you can go. Sorry.
I like how you are imagining that the first time you see me is when they see us, as if we haven't been on the call for 5 minutes to set it up. Marcus, welcome.
Hold on. Wait. I need to make a point because you go away. So once I start the stream, I don't see you anymore. I just hear you. So then I see your face again, and I'm like, yes, there you are, the beautiful man I've been talking to this whole time.
Marcus, that's you. I'm Nick. We're here for Now Try This. We're going live. That way we can, do this podcast. Marcus, what is this podcast?
I just said what the podcast was.
No, but do it more.
We're in loops.
Do it more.
Each week, Nick and I get together to talk about our favorite things. And that's pretty much the entirety of the podcast.
Nailed it. We challenge each other every week to try our favorite things. So this week, Marcus had the pleasure of challenging me. But before we get there, a couple quick housekeeping things, guys. You can follow us on everything at Now Try This Cast. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/NowTryThisCast. There, you can become part of our little try community. And the people there, you're going to want to make sure to jump at that soon, because the people there are actually going to get to decide our try for the first Thursday of next month, which is the next episode because of the holiday break.
Because of the holidays, we were going to take 2 weeks off. So the next challenge will actually be the January fan challenge, which comes from the $5 tier of the Patreon.
Yay.
And
the great thing is everyone that donates at least $1 gets to vote on what that final challenge is going to be. So guys, go check it out, see what's going on, and become part of the community.
Yes, I am excited. We already have some good suggestions, and I'm curious to see what ends up being voted through as our challenge for January.
And also, if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast on your podcast provider, just know we also go live every Thursday at 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/NowTryThisCast. You can come watch us do this show live, and you get all the mess ups involved that way.
And if you are on Twitch, you can actually go to the About section on our Facebook page to go to any of the links that they all link to our socials, Patreon, donate button, Facebook, Twitter, everything. We've been trying to be more active than we were last time around with the podcast, and it's been fun.
And guys, the last thing we're going to ask from you, because we haven't asked for so many things already, go ahead and in whatever podcast provider you leave us a 5-star review. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. As long as it's 5 stars, I don't care what you say.
Yeah, you leave the most hateful message you have in you. Like, let your fucking hate out.
Tear me apart. Tear me apart.
All of the pain and resentment you've experienced, everything you have in you, all of the hate and of 2020, just let it out.
We'll take it
in a 5-star review. We'll take it and read it out loud.
Marcus, before we get to the challenge, how are you doing? How's your week going? I haven't talked to you since the last podcast.
It's been great. That's my fake voice. If you can't tell, for the podcast.
I couldn't. It was really good.
Was it good? Was it genuine?
Ooh, ask me so I can show you my acting. Ask me so I can show my acting.
Okay. Nick, how was your week?
It's been great. Trying my best, and my best is doing great. No, I'm good. We got some snow here in New York City. Isn't that exciting? Up here in the Northeast. Shut down restaurants, but what are you gonna do? So we had our own little snow day here in the city. Nice to see a little whiteness on the ground.
You don't sound affected by that at all.
No, but why I wanted to bring it up is because, as opposed to us in real life getting covered by the snow, Marcus, you made me delve into the realm of the fiery pits of Hades. Marcus, You gave me Hades. Why the heck did you give me this? I know, that was a pretty good segue, right? You like that?
I've never seen a smoother transition in my life.
It's even better when you point it out. Thank you so much. Marcus, you gave me Hades, the critically acclaimed Game of the Year video game.
Marcus, it's not actually Game of the Year, but yes.
Marcus, you gave me the game of the year, Hades game. Marcus, why don't you tell the fans why you gave me this thing to try?
Nick, 2020 has been rough. That's probably an understatement, but I've gotten back into video games. I feel like in 2019, I was just too busy with work and life, and I didn't play that many video games. But because we've all been trapped inside, I've had the chance to rekindle my love of video games.
Marcus, sorry to interrupt your flow, but what is
Sure, what's up?
not a lot of video games for you? Because I can tell you how many games I played last year, and then you can tell me how many games you played last year, and we'll see where our barometers lie at.
For me, a good amount. I usually beat like 40 games a year. That's a good amount. And in 2019, I think I beat 16 or something like that. My brother and I we have a contest going. So whoever can beat more games wins at the end of the year.
Are you gonna win this year?
I don't know. He doesn't have a job, and he's also stuck inside. So it might be close.
Oh, this is gonna be the year he takes it. Marcus, I think I've played like maybe half a dozen games this past year, and I beat 0. Because most of that games was Slay the Spire.
Nice.
I played a little Hello Neighbor, I played a couple other things, but not 16 games.
I love giving you video game challenges because video games are one of my favorite things, period. I have a huge video game collection. I've been collecting games for my whole life. I don't know. I feel like I definitely have over 1,000 games. I would say 2,000 between digital and physical games.
Flex. We're on Twitch right now. Flex on the stream.
Hold on.
Flex for me.
I don't actually know.
What do you know? Talk about your vast majority of retro games. You got Sega Genesis, Dreamcast, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Game Boy. You got so much from so many things. Do you have anything like super old, like an Atari or like anything like that?
I mean, I have the original Nintendo. It's hard to judge because I don't feel like any of this like feels like a big deal. Like I follow so many retro gamers who are like, I have the holy grail game. This game is worth $2 million. And it's like, I don't have those things. But I do have my Nintendo, my Sega Genesis, my Sega Nomad, which was the handheld that Sega Genesis came out with. Is
that different than the Game Gear?
It's different than the Game Gear because this one was a portable Sega Genesis. So just borrow your Sega Genesis games, put them in this thing, you can play them on the go.
Guys, I need to reach out to all the people listening. Guys, don't you hear the sadness in Marcus's voice? Video games are his favorite thing in the world, and he pales in comparison.
Sad?
Hold on. He pales in comparison to all these retro gamers on the internet. Guys, if you want to help Marcus find those gems, follow him on Instagram at MegaMarculus and send him those deals for those retro games so he can complete his collection. And you know what? If you wanted to buy Marcus, MegaMarculus an Atari for Christmas, let us know. We'll set up a PO box just for Atari games.
Guys, if you want to sell me your old games, hit me up at MegaMarculus on Instagram. I will probably buy them.
But Marcus, why do video games mean so much to you?
I just grew up playing them. Like we had a Sega Genesis that we weren't allowed to play except for when my dad was at work, and then we snuck in and played the shit out of the Sega Genesis. And yeah, then we had a Sega Dreamcast. We were like a Sega family. We're not a Nintendo family. I feel like so many people are Nintendo families. But I went from Sega to Sony, and I don't know, a few years ago, I just had more disposable income and was like, you know what I want to do? Spend it on video games.
That's awesome. So, Marcus, you have given me games in the past. Guys, if you want to go listen to them, I had to play Resident Evil 4. I had to play Dream Daddy. I had to play Undertale.
If you listen to the Resident Evil 4 episode, you definitely had to play it. You hated it.
Listen, I appreciated it. There was just things about it that I just did not understand why it's the best game ever. But those games you gave me, Resident Evil 4, one of your favorite games ever, right? Yeah. Dream Daddy, by some of your favorite internet personalities who were waiting for years for development for that game, right? Undertale, arguably one of the best, arguably the best indie game ever. And now you gave me Hades. Why Hades?
So Hades is by a company that makes just fucking quality games. They're a very small indie company. Originally, the first game, Bastion, was made by like 6 or 7 people and a bunch of people that they hired out, freelancers.
Oh, I didn't
Um,
realize it's the same company.
yeah, then they went on to make
You want to say the name of the company though?
the company is Supergiant Games.
Oh, cool.
Then they went on to make Transistor and also Pyre, and this is their most recent game, which came out this year. A lot of people were hoping that this game would get Game of the Year. I was also hoping that this game would get Game of the Year, but Last of Us 2
What did
ended up
Last of
getting
Us?
Game of the Year,
Makes
which
sense.
honestly, it's a great game. But I feel like this is better in terms of a gaming experience. Last of Us 2 is very cinematic. It's a great story. It's get into it very easily. But Hades is just a fun, well-made game full of hot people.
I guess there are so many attractive people. Now, here's the thing about this game. This game is a little more difficult to talk about than some of our things in the past because of the nature of how you play the game. You want to explain it to people who maybe never have played it?
It's a roguelike dungeon crawling game where you go through different encounters, defeating monsters, and then eventually there's a boss of each world. And then you are attempting as Zagreus to escape from the underworld, from Hades. So Nick, have you ever played a roguelike game before?
Yes and no. I mentioned it earlier. Slay the Spire is a game that I play every day because it's a deck building game, and I grew up playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and Pokemon. And it is unique because it's a card building game that is roguelike.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that game, I've never actually played a fighting real roguelike game because I find them a little like annoying because
Honestly,
I'm like I sometimes like oh there was one I was playing Tanglewood. It
okay.
was an indie game. I played that
Yeah, you
for
told me
like
about that one.
3 days, but the problem with roguelike games for me is you play for 3 days, you get to the same point of those 3 days, and you're like, got it. And then you
Yeah,
put it down for you put
100%.
it down forever.
Roguelike games are, for those of you who don't know, are just games where you play through the game a little bit, and then usually what happens is you advance, you make it up to a certain point, you level up your character in certain ways, you get certain buffs that will help you in later runs. And then you keep going and going through the game until eventually you have either memorized the world and the enemies enough that you yourself as the player are better and able to overcome these challenges quickly,
Oh,
or your character has been buffed enough to go back through and defeat whatever enemies you're stuck on.
what is that famous game that was what's that one real famous game? What's that
You
famous
sound like
game?
my mom describing movies. What's that movie with that guy? He's bald and he's driving a bus.
And then there's a real tall building. No, that the one that's it's a mobile game. That was like one of the it was a really early mobile game that had really good graphics and it was you were fighting with a sword and it was just like swiping
Oh
and then it
yes.
was
Oh
Infinity
God. Infinity Blade
Sword,
or some shit.
Infinity
Yeah.
Blade or
Yeah.
something like that. I played that a lot
Yeah.
and Infinity Blade 2 and 3
Mhm.
like on like my iPhone 4, 5 and 6. That game, that was a roguelike game that I played a lot because I could play like on the bus or in the train or whatever.
Mhm.
So I guess I have played a roguelike game that I enjoyed. Did I enjoy it or was I just wasting time? I don't know.
So my main problem with roguelike games is that they don't have a story usually. Like they don't really have a cohesive narrative of any kind. So it makes it hard for me to, as someone who really enjoys diving into a story of a game, to enjoy, because I'll play a couple times, just like you said. I'll play like a few times, I get the hang of it, and I'm like, okay, and I'm done. Or it'll be a game where I pick up if I'm on the bus or if I just have a few minutes. I'll pick it up, play it for a few minutes, I'll do a run, and then I'll turn it off and like not touch it again for a few months or a year or whatever. But when I played this game, I could not put this shit down. I was playing it over and over again, making it further and further on my subsequent runs, and I loved every freaking minute of it. And I'm excited to see what you thought about it.
Well, I think I think one of the reasons why, because I feel the same way about those games, is it lacks the fulfillment aspect of doing something, right?
Yeah,
So one reason people love the Zelda franchise, right, is you are slowly lore building and building out the world, and it gets bigger and bigger, and there's like this fulfillment thing, and even like simple games like fucking Stardew Valley, where you're making a farm. Seeing your completed thing and building out your world, that fulfillment fills a very specific thing. That's the reason people get addicted, right? To like Facebook games and like mobile
yeah,
games like Farmville and shit. Because it fills in this void of that's why gotcha games, right? Are so popular because you're trying to have this fulfillment aspect. And roguelike games have that a little bit, but it's lacking that core you feel like it's you
yeah.
accomplishing the thing because you're starting over from scratch every time. Now, before I tell you, like I did write down my first run. Here's my first run. Okay. So, at the beginning, somebody's talking and I'm like, who the fuck is this talking? So there's this narrator guy and you're like, who are you? Why are you telling me a story? As far as I am in the game, I still don't know. And then Zagreus, this really cool guy with half a shirt and like Greek leaves in his hair and like a
He's got
Cerberus
Greek
shoulder
hair.
thing. He doesn't have green hair. He has
No,
Greek
Greek
feather
hair. Greek
things.
hair.
Yeah, Greek
I know.
Greek
Yeah, yeah.
feather. He's got a fucking
Beautiful.
Caesar shit,
Uh huh. Yeah, yeah.
fucking that shit. And he's like, oh, this guy's hot and love the voice acting. And he's like, goodbye, father. And I'm like, who's father? Oh my God, what is this? What's going on? This is Zagreus. And the first person I met was Athena. And she was like, oh, yo, I'm going to help you escape Hades. And I was like, oh, is this that story about the guy that was like leaving hell and he couldn't because he looked back? I was like, oh, is that the game we're
Orpheus.
playing? Orpheus? And I was like, oh, that must be what that is. And then they call him Zagreus. And I was like, oh, that's not what this is at all. so,
It is
so
in
wrong,
fact the
right off the bat.
opposite of Orpheus. Orpheus was attempting to get into hell, and Zagreus is attempting to get out of hell.
Well, Orpheus did get in hell. He just couldn't get back out because
He
he
just
looked
couldn't get
back
back
at
out.
his
Yeah.
lover. Oh, so these notes are very spastic. So it's gonna be because I was playing a video game. So
Yeah, yeah. Well,
uh,
also immediately, something that is different about this game is that there is a story, and Supergiant Games did a good job of weaving the narrative into the gameplay, which I feel like is why I think this is one of the greatest games. The
I'm
fact that
so
someone
excited to
hasn't
talk to you about that. But
really
first, I
done
want to get
that
through this
is
this this
crazy.
run. So
Get through.
so
I want to. Yeah, yeah. Go,
So
go.
so after Athena, something hurts me, and then Zagreus has a little aside to himself and says like, "Oh, if only I could heal." And I'm sitting there playing, knowing nothing about the game. He's like, "What the fuck you mean I can't heal?" And I'm like just getting hit by shit, and I'm like, "Oh fuck!" And then Dionysus shows up, and then it explains, "Oh, I'm trying to get into Olympus or something." And then there's and then I literally wrote down at first I went through the because I had no idea what this game was, so I didn't know how in
Yeah,
depth
yeah.
I needed to be. So I was like, okay, I went through the purple door, and then I went through the skull bag door, and then I got Charon's help, but I didn't have enough money, and
Mhm.
then I was dead.
Pretty good
So I
first
got
run. Pretty good.
honestly solid, but then and what you're talking about is the reason this is so different is because at that point I realized, oh, it's roguelike. I got it. I'm going through these halls and I'm like, oh, the art style is very pretty. The fighting is it's pretty intuitive. It doesn't have it's there's no harshness. I was like, I can learn better, but it doesn't feel off or anything. But what I wasn't expecting is the first time you die, you show up and you talk to Hades and you're like, "Hey, he's your dad." And the lobby of this place is filled with all these dead peoples at Hades' death signing, and there's other characters. And then one by one, I was like, "Oh, these are gonna be the stupid NPCs that I'm gonna have to like upgrade
Uh-huh.
my shit, like always." But then you talk to one of them, and then you talk to Achilles, and I'm like, "Oh shit, Achilles!" And one of the geniuses of this game is fucking. I know who Achilles is. I know his
Yeah.
story. He was dunked in the river Styx by his mother, being hold at his ankles, and that's why his ankles are weak. And he's one of the fiercest warrior of Greek mythology. And he was Zagreus' teacher. and then you go over here and you meet Nyx, who's the knight incarnate, who's like mommy and helping him learn stuff. And then you got Hades, and then Cerberus is there, and I'm like, wow, okay, cool, very thrown off. But then you introduce all these people, and then we go back in, and then for my second run, I
Oh, hold on.
die.
Before you get to your second run,
Yeah,
so once you die, you return to the lobby of Hades game, and everyone's there.
Hadesville. Yeah, Hades Town.
Hadesville, Hades Town.
Hades tribe, Hades, Hades. No, let's workshop this. Hades bungalow, Hades projects,
Hades,
Project Hades,
the Project Hades.
I like
So you
that.
end up in the projects of Hades, and yeah, everyone's there that you talk to, and it's funny because just a little insight into how the game was made, so that because they knew that you were going to go through the death process a lot, and you're going to be talking to the same characters over and over again. What they did is they created tons and tons and tons of dialogue options, and they're randomized. So whenever you go through a certain number of playthroughs, you might not get the same dialogue options that I've gone through with every character.
Oh,
Yeah, so they're
I
actually
assume the
randomized.
first 100 were linear, but it's not.
No,
Wow.
yeah. So it's mostly randomized, and what they do is they have a priority system. So based on what you're doing, based on what items you've been able to
Oh,
obtain,
sure.
based on how many deaths you've had, based on the progress you've made in the underworld, they reprioritize those dialogue options so that way you like the characters are acknowledging whatever you just said, which is awesome. And I think that's a great and way of doing it and a clever way of making it fresh, but also making sure that like all the characters are responding to the cool shit you're doing.
Which is why Hypnos is the most annoying one, because he's sleep incarnate and he's right there at the front door when you walk in. And every
Yes.
time you talk to him, he always references how you die. And every time it's super condescending. He's like, oh, you died by the louts? Try not to do that. Maybe dodge him or something. And you're like, you son of a fucking bitch. Like, I was like, and it could have been like the best run ever, and you were just so frustrated because you were so close,
Yeah.
and you just like did something dumb, and you're like, fuck, and he's like, oh, you tripped in a trap, and you're like, you son of a fuck out of here. And then
I
the
know he
second run,
really really pushes in the knife.
I know, but no, I'll talk more with Garrus later. So for the second run, I go
Okay.
in and you do a couple little power ups because obviously it's the first run. I don't have that much, but I did have enough to buy the bow. And I was like, oh, cool. Let me buy the bow. Let's see how that is. And I buy the bow. I was like, oh, cool. So I can stay away from the people because I can't heal and shit. And then I do my second run and I die almost immediately. The bow is very hard. I was not prepared for the bow. If you are playing this game for the first time, stick to the sword for a little while. Get the hang of it. Do not buy the bow and go in your second run thinking,
That's
nail,
funny.
nailed it. I'm gonna use this.
I
I'm fucking next level shit. I'm gonna take the
I
bow and I'm
love
gonna
the
fucking kill.
bow.
I can't fucking
The
use the bow.
bow
I
is
still.
so good. I feel like I love like long distance hits. I love sniping people. So like for
Uh-uh.
me, the bow really fit
Well,
my playstyle to
how
be like
soon did
safe
you
and
get the
stay
bow?
far
Right,
away.
right at the beginning, did you get the bow, or did you probably through a couple times and then pick up the bow? Because playing with the bow, when all I knew about the game was that first run, and then playing that second run,
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
was very unprepared because I still didn't know how any of the enemies were. I only experienced like 3 enemies. So anytime a new enemy came and there's this whole other system, I was very overwhelmed. So then for my third run, I went back to the sword and I beat the game.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. No, I didn't beat the game. on
I
my
was
third
gonna
run.
say, applause.
But what encounter how far do you think I got in my third run?
I would say I think you made it up to
Now that I did
at
pick
least.
the bow like a fucking dweeb.
I think I'm gonna say that I think you made it up to either the first boss is pretty easy. You probably beat the first boss. I would say that you made it up to the Hydra.
I got to Elysium, baby.
Oh,
In the
nice!
third
So you beat
run.
the Hydra.
I can't remember. I got like halfway through Elysium on the third run.
That's good. Holy
I was
shit!
proud. I was like, I don't know anything
That's
about this game.
awesome.
I don't know how well I'm doing, but I feel like that was far. I feel like I fucking
That's
got
really good.
real good.
Yeah.
And then I stopped taking notes on every. I have a couple more like encounter specific things we can talk about as we go.
Sure.
But that was the end of me meticulously notating what I was doing each run, because I was like, now I just need to like play the game better.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about the game is that the game has enemies that you have to pay attention to. You have to learn their patterns. the game has weapons that all feel unique. I feel like a part of the issue with roguelike games is that they get repetitive. Like you're just doing the
Yeah.
same thing over and over again. And
Hack
then
and
you end up in a
slash.
pattern and you're just like, okay, cool. Like I've mastered this weapon. It's kind of boring. I'm done. And that's what happens with me. I get bored. And so the way that the thing that makes Hades different is that they have multiple weapons for you to try. You mentioned the bow and arrow. So that's another weapon for you to master, a whole nother play style for you to adapt to. And same thing, they have like a gun kind of thing. They have a shield and
It's
God,
a
they
spear.
have
You mean the
fists.
spear?
Oh, the spear, a gun, and fists.
Oh, I have not seen the gun yet. Is that the big,
Oh, the
big
gun's
boy?
great.
Is that the
The gun's
last
the first
one?
time. The gun's when I used to beat the game for my first time. I was like, fuck yeah, gun.
Oh, I haven't gotten a gun yet. I just got enough. Well, I don't want to reveal where I am yet.
Okay,
But
okay.
anyway, so I do want to go back to what you were talking about the story, because after the really cool part about the game is, and I didn't know it was randomized, but it is prioritized, like you said. So it feels like when you're playing it, every time you die, at least for those first dozen or so, it feels so story oriented. Like the game accounts for the fact that you don't succeed until a later point. And maybe all the dialogue, like you said, maybe all the dialogues are completely different if I succeeded on that first run. But playing through these first 10, 20 times, it doesn't feel like you're failing, because it feels like a story specific thing of why you lost, because it's always referenced, right? So if on the fourth run you die because of Megara, the first boss, when you come in, everyone's mentioning Megara, and then you also
Yeah.
learn a new fact about the world that expands things, and so on and so forth, every one of these runs. So oh, spoilers! I guess I like the game. I'm usually better about burying the lead, but it was really hard here. It was really hard because
It's just
right
so
away
likable.
this game is so distinct and unique
Mhm.
and has a voice and a tone, and it was you gobble it up. You almost
Yeah.
look forward to dying so you can like learn the story.
Yeah, dying is not a disappointing thing. When you die, you can build your relationships with the characters that are
Yeah.
in Hades. And so you eventually get this thing called flasks, I think, or whatever it is that you get. Oh, nectar of the gods. You get nectar of the gods. And then you can give those to characters to develop your bonds with them. You can eventually end up in a relationship with 3 of them, I think. You can you can date.
Spoilers! I have not
Sorry,
started a relationship
spoilers.
with anything. Oh my god!
You
You
can
just
date
blew my mind. No, don't. I
You
don't
can
want to
date.
know. You
No, come
can't
on.
talk about it.
You can date 3 characters. And I won't tell you who they are.
Okay, don't tell me all
guess.
the characters, but I do want to give you a little bit to talk about, so you can tell me who you ended up dating.
Okay, I ended up dating Meg because
Sure, because you feel
she's
fucking
the
awful
best.
for her.
She's a
You feel so
badass.
bad for her.
I mean, I felt not because I felt bad for her. She's cool
Oh,
as
I felt
fuck.
bad for her. You really?
No. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I
I
feel
do
bad
not
for her
have
at
that same
first,
opinion.
and that's so I kept talking to her and been like, "Hey, so we cool?" And she was like, "No, we not cool." And I was like, "Fucking shit." Okay, and then I did everything
Yeah.
I could to get her to like me, and then we ended up together, which is great.
Yeah, I feel awful. Megara's story is basically it seems like maybe they like dated or were at least very good friends, and then Zagreus was like, "I'm getting the fuck out of here," and then she is tasked with always being that first ball until her sisters are introduced, but like
Yeah,
fighting you and getting you back to hell over and over again, and she is so not happy. There's such a in the voice acting and in the dialogue, it's so apparent how she feels, which is crazy. This
yeah,
is the kind of storytelling and character development that's in Last of Us, or like a
yeah.
real like not real game. Not that this isn't a real game,
But like a
but a
AAA
game.
game instead of an indie
A,
game.
yeah, a AAA game that is all about the story. That's all
Yeah.
about learning these things as you go. Is the way it feels with just that character.
Yeah, a team of under 20 people made this game. Like, I feel like some of these indie games are
Whoa,
so
what?
impressive. Yes, the game design is beautiful. The dialogue is so incredibly well written. Like,
That's
it's
crazy.
it's been really good. They also were really adamant about having fan feedback. So they had the game released in early access in like 2018. And so it's been in early access for like 2 years. And so a lot of people had the opportunity to play the game, learn from it,
That makes sense.
speed
I
run
have
the
heard of it
game, get in the
before. Yeah.
process, and also try to like really fine tune everything so it feels like a very smooth and easy game.
That's why I've heard about people playing this game for years, but then I feel like it just came out. That's why. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Just for
yeah.
reference, I don't know if you know this, but like how many people are on a AAA game like Assassin's Creed or Last? Do you know, like off the top of your head, how
I would
many?
say like
Just a frame of
over.
reference.
I mean, over 100, easy. I mean, like they're doing motion capture. They're doing like so many things.
Yeah.
Like on a game like Batman, there is one person dedicated to making sure his cape billowed correctly. Like there's just so many people involved in every process of video game
The Last
design.
of Us 2, over 2,000 people worked on it. But that number should have
Yeah.
been higher, is what this article is.
Yeah. But I mean, when you
Whoa.
roll credits in a game, it's a long thing, you
That's
know?
1%. That's 1% of the same amount of people. That's 1% of the people that worked on Last of Us 2 worked on Hades. That is
Yeah. It's
wild.
crazy.
Wild.
But it's incredibly impressive the talent that Supergiant Games have. Like they dedicate a lot of time and passion to creating games.
And you can tell. I mean, I think the the reason you can tell is not, and I would say these are also positives of the game, not the smooth gameplay, not the thought out leveling up gridded system, not the even the art and the colors and the those things. I think the feel of the game feels so thought out is because of the story. So after that third run, or maybe it was the fourth or fifth, your character Zagreus goes to sleep, and he goes and rifles through Hades's things, and
Mhm.
you learn pretty early on that Zagreus's mother, uh, Persephone,
Persephone. Yep.
nailed it. My notes are very I can't read my notes because
Got
I was
it.
playing a video game as I was playing them, and it was a roguelike game, so I couldn't like just kind of
Yeah, yeah, because if you
meander over. I
died.
was like, and a lot of the crux of this early game, I don't know what it's like later because I haven't played through every single minute of the game yet, but is getting to figure out why your mom left, getting to go to get your mom, and
Yep.
the at first it feels good about why he wants to leave, and it's just because I'm sick of this place. I'm a
Yeah.
snot-nosed prince and I need to leave, which is what it is for those first couple runs, and you're like, cool. But then you learn more about this and more about how the interactions between all the gods have been over these years, and
Yes.
what Hades is like. And then also really, really good job of making Hades, at least here in the beginning, he's the villain, but he's not a villain.
No.
They even say, like Zeus even says in one of his pickups, yeah, my brother kind of got the short end of the stick. He had to go like run all of hell, and we're just kind of up here.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the way
uh,
the game is the way the story is doled out to you little by little is just so good because in the
yeah,
beginning you're just like, here's this brat who wants to escape hell, and everyone treats him that way. But
yeah,
eventually, as you get to learn more, you know that like, okay, he wants to figure out what's going on with his mother. And his dad is kind of being stirred and strict, but his dad isn't a bad person. His dad
and you
isn't
can
like
tell it's because
torturing
he's hurt,
Zagreus in any way.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, this topic of Persephone and why she left, like this whole thing, you can tell that it hurts Hades in
Yeah,
like a weird way, and you just want to know why. And Zagreus is kind of like hot-headed, so he's like, "Screw you! You don't want to tell me what's going on. I'm gonna leave. Figure it out for myself."
super
Have you
reasonable.
have you made it to Hades in any of your runs?
Okay, so Marcus,
Okay.
I've only had a week to play this game.
Yes.
I had how many runs do you think I've done?
42.
Oh, that's a lot of credit. I only did 27.
Oh no, it's okay.
But I would argue that the reason the encounter number is low is because I got very far on most of my runs.
That's fair.
That would be my argument. If people would be like, because you said play about
Yeah, yeah,
10
yeah.
hours, and that's maybe like 11 or 12 hours is like what I played, and it's like maybe that's not a lot. I would say it's because I got pretty far. On run number 24,
Uh-huh.
I got through Tartarus, got through Ashidel, got through Elysium, ended up
Mhm.
at 6 sticks, facing off Cerberus, got past that, experienced the winter wonderland of the outside, met my father Hades, and got
Nice.
demolished with
But
my
even-
best run equipment ever, and he like
But when you-
stomped on me.
But when you make it up to Hades, it's like it feels good. You feel like you're being rewarded,
Yeah.
that you're at the precipice of success and you are ready to
You
go.
did it. You're outside.
Yeah, you
You
made it out.
exit the door. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Hades
he
comes in with his battle helmet and is like, and
beats
he's like
your
so,
ass.
and he's so, but he's so like, I didn't want to have to do this, but I
Yeah.
have to. He wasn't like, I'm gonna show you, boy, I'm amazing. He's like sad about it.
Yeah, he is super sad. He's like, okay, this is what you want. He doesn't want his son to leave. You know,
Yeah.
like that's evident in the incredible voice acting and the dialogue. You can
Oh, the
feel what
voice
he
acting.
wants to say without him saying it.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Unfortunately,
Nick. Sorry.
Unfortunately, he does so much damage. I mean, like I got him down to like less than half, and I was feeling pretty good. But then I got overwhelmed because I used my Call of the Gods. I forgot which one I had. I think it was Dionysus, and he just like went underground for the whole of it, all of it, and then he came back up, hit me twice, and I died. And I was like, oh. Damn it, I really wanted to finish this game for the podcast, and I felt really sad.
No, it's good. I'm just happy you made it up to Hades. I figured like
I have
you
yet
would
to
make it up to
complete a
Hades
game
at least.
successfully that you have given me. So let's go. Let's run it back. Resident Evil 4, I got to the third chapter, too fucking hard. Dream Daddies, I did finish one of the daddies, but I got the wrong ending, and got like used up and spit out by one of the dads. And then Undertale, I couldn't beat the final boss.
I'm sorry. Well, Nick,
And
let's
here I
see
am
how you
again.
do on this game that I made up
no.
right now.
Oh
Smooth
no.
transitions all around today. It's your turn. Last week you had me play a game, and this week I made a game for you.
Talk about how amazing my game is, so people go back and listen to that episode.
Honestly, that game was great. You made a game, Chess It or Sex It, or Chess or Sex or something. And
It was Sex It or Chess It.
It was very good. It was a very difficult game.
If you guys are interested in chess or sex, go check out our last episode
Go
of
check
Queen's
out
Gambit.
My nephew called me and was like, hey, I listened to that episode. I liked the game that you played. And I was like, oh no. I don't want to have this conversation. Please. You're a baby in my eyes.
Very funny.
Okay, Nick.
Yes.
Okay, so are you ready for this game? It is called Beyond Belief, Myth, or Fiction. It's a reference to an old show that you probably never watched, but I love. And it's near and dear.
It's a very here's the thing. Say the name of your game again.
Beyond Belief, Myth, or Fiction.
And the name of my game was Sex It or Chess It. It's like very like, it's like real television and like fucking public access over here with me.
I had help with my game, so it's okay. Darren, shout
what
out
do you mean
to
you
her,
had chess?
helped me.
Oh, why did you need help?
Yes.
You're just a little baby boy that just needed a
Because I'm a
helping hand from
baby
somebody?
boy who, yes, 100%. Or because I love
fine.
working with people I love. How about that? How about that wholesome content for you?
I think it was the first thing, but you can go on.
Okay,
What's the
question
game?
1. Okay, wait. Do you want the same?
Yeah, tell me what the game was.
Do you want the same lifeline that I got last time before I tell you what the game is? Do you want the same lifeline where you can ask the chat the answer to one question? I don't know if they're active. Because that's up to you.
Yeah, I don't know. The chat hasn't said anything for like 10 minutes, so I don't know if they're there. But I guess I'll take the lifeline if I need it. Oh no, somebody responded. Great. I have at least somebody. Yes. There's drones and drones in the chat.
Wow.
They are ready.
The chat is
okay,
active.
guys.
They're ready to go.
Okay. Hold on, Marcus,
had
before
no
you start
faith.
the game, I gotta talk to the chat really quick. You ready? Hold on 1 second. Okay. Chat.
Okay, sorry.
Chat. Okay, chat. You fucked Marcus last time. You did not help him. You fucked him over. If you do that to me, you're dead to me, okay? I need to win this game. I need to show Marcus up. I didn't win Hades. I need this. Don't fuck me. Okay, I'm ready.
Nice. Okay, I didn't hear any of that. So first question, Nick. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna tell me. I'm gonna read something, and you're gonna tell me whether it's a real myth, if it's from mythology, or if I made it up.
Hold on. So, God damn it, I was a very good student straight A's, top of my class. The one
Yes,
class,
let's all sit down for your background story.
the one class that I failed in high school was history. So I don't have a great memory. Let's see how this goes.
First question. King Minos was gifted a bull by the god Poseidon that was meant for sacrifice. Instead of sacrificing it, the king decided to keep the bull alive. This angered Poseidon, so as punishment, he made King Minos' wife fall in love with the bull, whose child she ends up bearing.
Now listen. Before I answer, I need to ask you a question.
Sure.
And that question is, how much do you like me? Because did you do the thing where it's just like Zeus and not Poseidon, or did you make the whole story up? Okay, well, fuck, this is stupid then. Because I know
it's not that bad. It's not
Okay.
that bad.
Okay,
Like,
okay.
a lot of the gods are crazy and have done a lot of things, so something might be similar, but it's not like it's not super obvious, but it's not impossible. I didn't switch
Okay,
one word in the sentence and be like,
perfect,
oh, it was
perfect.
actually.
That's all I wanted. That's all
yeah.
I wanted. Good, because that would have made you a douche.
Thanks.
I was okay. So here. Let's walk through this. I know the story. What you're saying sounds similar to what I vaguely remember of the Minotaur story. So I feel like this child was the Minotaur, which is a real thing. I feel like sounds like the origin of the Minotaur, but I didn't know Poseidon was involved in that story. And I also, King Midas is the gold guy, isn't he?
Did
you say Midas?
I did not say King Midas.
What was the name of the guy?
Minos.
See, that's helpful. That's helpful. Thank you for the freebie, because I was gonna say no just because of the gold thing. I'm gonna say that's true. That's a real myth.
Nick, you are correct. That is true.
Is it the story of the Minotaur?
It is the story of the Minotaur. It's how the Minotaur was born.
Right, that's it, right? Just one question? 100%?
No, there are 10 questions total.
Ooh, what a reasonable amount of questions on a game.
How many did you have? 20?
I had more than 20, bro. I didn't know if it was going to be successful or not. I was covering my bases. And then I couldn't cut it down because I was proud of my choices.
That's true. And I was making a lot of jokes during it. I was enjoying the game. It was fun.
Well, this first question has taken 5 minutes, so...
You ready? Pan, god of the wild, shepherds, and flocks, had a thing for nymphs. In order to avoid his advances, one of these nymphs turned herself into river reeds, which Pan ends up cutting and making into a flute. I'll repeat the question. Pan.
No. You're
flute fine. Man, are those reeds that he plays all the time made of nymphs?
Wow, you should do it that way every time. That was a 10 out of 10. I loved that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. Well, you said the name is Pan, and a pan flute is a real thing, right? So is this the story of a pan flute? Or did you Google Greek and Roman things and a pan flute came up and you said, hey, let me make something up about the pan flute? But if you made this up about the pan flute, the fact that Pan sounds like it could be a god person thing, and also it has to do with nymphs, and nymphs turning into, I don't even know, a river reed. You wouldn't come up with the word river reed, but here's my crux.
Never.
See, you've fucked me, because if it was just you, I would be very confident. But you involve someone else who I only am starting a good friendship with.
Baby, wild card. That's
I like Darren a lot, but I don't know her to the degree to what kind of tomfoolery she would involve in this game. Okay. I'm going to say this is true, and here's why. Because while I think you guys are smart enough and daring enough to include nymphs in a story about someone that is... The fact that it turned into river reed, which sounds like the flower that looked at itself in the water. You know what I'm talking about? It starts with the N. What is it?
Sure.
You know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah, totally.
okay, well, whatever. That's a real story. So the fact that something else in Greek mythology turned into a flower, I'm gonna say maybe it also happened here and invented the pan flute. I'm gonna say true.
Final answer.
Oh yeah, because this is and doubling down because
Oh,
the
double
satyr
down. Famous
In
sandwich from
Hercules,
KFC.
the satyr in Hercules is all about the ladies, right? And Pan, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure is a satyr, and that's probably where they got. Yeah, 100%. This is a myth that is real that exists in lore. Tell me I'm right, Marcus.
Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. Nick, you
Oh,
are
good.
2 for 2. Look at you. You don't even need the chat. The chat needs you, though.
Well,
Okay.
there's 8
Number
more.
3.
So let's calm down.
The gods of Olympus loved to make visits to Earth, mainly
Sure.
just to fuck with people, but sometimes they would fall in love.
Mhm.
Zeus
Mhm.
fell in love with a mortal woman named Semele. And when
Smelly?
she didn't love, that's how I'm pronouncing it. When she didn't love him back, he turned her into a mouse and her lover into a cat, forcing them to a life where they were destined to torment each other.
See, this is tough because Zeus has come down as so many different things and turned so many people into so many different things. If I was just basing on the
100%.
fact, is Zeus capable of coming to the earth and changing people into things? 100%. Most of the demigods that exist in lore are Zeus's kids.
Zeus is the horniest of the gods. Maybe above or below Aphrodite. I feel like above Aphrodite. It's like her job, you know what I mean? He's just doing it because it's in his nature.
Aphrodite has to fuck. Zeus, guy's just loose. Now, I'm inclined to say this is fake just because the last 2 were real. However, the genius of being a cat and mouse and tormenting each other forever is so good. It's so good that if you told me, obviously we didn't come up with that, I would believe you, but I kind of feel like you did. You own a cat. Oh, this is why
And-
I'm going to say. This is
and I
why
own a
this is why it's
mouse.
fake. This is why it's fake because you guys were sitting there in the living room coming up with these ideas and you were like, "Oh, Zeus came and like fucked people. What if we lied something about that?" And then Salem comes running by and you're like, "Got it. Cat. This is fake because you own a cat. Nailed it."
Hold on, let me try to summon Salem. Salem, I summon you! No cat.
He's
Sorry.
not there. He doesn't
No.
listen to your commands.
God damn, I'm trying to train him, but it's not working. Nick, is that your final answer?
Yeah.
You are correct. It is
Oh.
false. Good job. Good job. Good job.
Was it because you saw Salem in the living room?
No. Salem, cat, I need to include this. Okay. Number 4.
Okay, I'm ready.
Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, was famously seductive and had affairs with every Olympian god except Zeus and Hades.
See, this is complicated because I mean, all of them is a lot. All of them is a lot because you're inclined to say, well, not Zeus because that's her dad, and not Hades because that's her uncle, but Poseidon is also her uncle. And and so and Ares is her brother, I'm pretty sure. So but I wouldn't believe that she didn't have an affair with these other gods. That's the problem with the gods. They're all related because they all came from those 7, right?
Yep.
And that's really annoying because as everybody knows, the 7 gods was it 7 or was it
Incest.
6?
Famously annoying.
Because as everybody knows, Kronos, the Titan, had a headache one day, and the 6 first gods all came out of his forehead. See, I'm very knowledgeable.
Wow, Nick. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I'm so
be
impressed.
Be impressed.
I'll be more impressed if you get this question right.
Ooh, I want Kronos as granddaddy to show up in Hades. I hope he does. Okay. All right. Aphrodite. See, here's the thing. If you ask me before I play the game, now Aphrodite seems like super chill and like lovey and like super nice because of me playing this game. Because all the gods are painted in such a like a very nice Hercules version, the Disney movie version. Like they're a little more adult than that, but they're all very like clean.
They're
in
very
a good
clean.
way, which I like a lot. I liked how like personal and real they all felt. Okay, Aphrodite. I'm going to say no, because I think if Aphrodite was giving enough to get it on with her other uncles and aunts, I don't think she would have stopped with, oh, but what if she didn't to Hades because he was down stuck in hell, and then the line was you know what, I'm gonna say true. I'm gonna say true. I'm gonna say this is true. This is true. This is true because no one wants to go. Oh, this is why it's true. Because when I'm swiping on an app and I
Yeah, yeah,
see
yeah.
that she's
And you
6
see your
miles from me
and you see
all the
your
way
and you see your
downtown,
sister on it, and you're like, yes,
that's
I
not
need to
why.
swipe right.
No, no, no.
That's not
I'm
why.
saying this is true because when I see that somebody is 6 miles downtown and I'm like, I gotta go all the way downtown to
Yeah,
meet
yeah,
her,
yeah.
I swipe left.
But then you see your
Aphrodite,
sisters next door, you swipe right. Is that what
Aphrodite
you're
did not
saying?
want to go all the no. Aphrodite did not want to go all the way downtown to Brooklyn to screw Hades. So I'm gonna say this
Uh-huh.
is true.
Got it. Okay. It's true because it's easier to have sex with your siblings than with other people.
With your uncle who lives in Brooklyn, yes,
Yeah, yeah. Okay, got it.
yes,
Final answer?
yeah,
Okay. Yes, it is true. Look at
nice,
you. Good job.
nice. You like my downtown analogy?
I loved it. It was great. Nick famously pro incest on the podcast. So take
No, stop it! Get out of here.
Okay.
No,
Next question.
it's on the record.
Dionysus's mortal mother was burnt to a crisp after seeing Zeus's true form. So he took the unborn Dionysus and finished the gestation process in his own thigh.
So okay, so what did she do to get burnt? She just
She
spurned
saw
his love.
Zeus's true form.
So is this one of the situations where he came down like as a swan, and then he was like a burly dude, and she's like, "Ooh, you look hotter like this," and he's like, "Absolutely not. You could only love me as a swan."
100%. He was like
Mm.
in the swan form. I don't know enough about this, but
Hey, I get it. You ever like, you're in a new relationship and you like,
you
you're a little
hide
shy
your
about
true
taking off your
self.
shirt.
That's
Yeah,
all Zeus was
you hide your
doing. He was hiding
yeah.
his true self. He was probably a goat or some other animal, and she was super horny for that goat. And he was like, "I am a god," and she was like, "Okay, but I like fucking you as a goat." And
I'm gonna say this is as a go. Here's why I'm gonna say that this is real. Because Dionysus, that I know from playing this game, is the god of fun and wine. What does wine need to do? Ferment. How do you ferment? By being sailed in a container for a long period of time. Just like Zeus's thigh. This is real. Give me the point. You don't even have to keep track of the points because I'm just going to get them
you
all
think
right.
this
Go
is
ahead.
real?
Yeah, this is 100% real. Just like wine, Dionysus had to ferment in Zeus's thigh.
It is real. Look at that. You're killing the game. Oh my god.
Killing the game. Oh, what's the kid dance? It's like ooh, 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 ooh. Is that
Oh
it?
man. Oh god. You're an old man. Don't do that. Question 6. Iris, the personification of the rainbow, and Hermes' counterpart, was incredibly jealous of his position as Zeus's personal messenger. She attempted to usurp the messenger of the gods by transforming into a flock of birds to pluck the wings from his feet. After her plan failed, Zeus, the god of weather, cursed her to invisibility.
Iris?
Yes.
I've never heard of this person. They're gods. They're made up gods from old BC time. All right, let's see. So we got this chick, right? And she's like, yo, I want your job. So she turned into birds and took the wings off his feet.
Yep.
Oh God. I'll be honest, this is the first one I'm like, ooh, I don't know. Okay, let's see. I need to come to an answer. I don't want to use my life on it because I feel like a hard one's coming soon. Harder than this. Iris, that sounds like a real god. I think they're all real gods. I don't think you would give me made up gods. Is the sequence of events real? I'm going to say this is fake. And here's why. Because the better plan would be to turn into a bunch of birds and show that they could do the messenger job better.
Oh, so you're saying that the problem is with her plan.
Yeah, and what's a myth? What's an old ancient myth if not some kind of proverb, a story, a good lesson to be
Yeah.
learned? And the lesson here would be you need to do the job better. But right
Or maybe
now,
the lesson is that this is why you don't see rainbows all the time.
oh my god, you know what? Hold on. I'm gonna say this is true, and here's why. This is why I'm changing it. Because this is almost verbatim what happened with Tanya Harding. And that was real. So I'm gonna say this is real.
So this is a real Nick.
Because it's Tanya
Unfortunately,
Harding.
this was false.
Tanya Harding
were
led me astray.
Tanya Harding ruined
Oh,
your chances at
no.
getting a perfect score. I'm sorry, Nick.
Ah, god damn it.
Okay,
I should have stuck with my
next.
gut.
Yeah, you should have. You were doing great. I was like, that makes sense. That sounds good. Okay, next question.
Yeah.
Ares, god of war, is known as the personification of violence and brutality. He was born in the form of a minotaur and killed everyone who was present for his birth, including his mother Nyx.
I'm gonna say this is fake because I'm just I'm pretty sure that Ares is from the main guy. Like I feel like he's Zeus's and Hera's kid. And also, the other story you told me sounded like the creation of the Minotaur, like how the first one was formed. So if that was true, how could a Minotaur? I'm gonna say it's fake. I'm thinking of like the chick. I'm thinking. I'm trying to figure out the chicken and the egg situation. Like which Minotaur came first, and I think the other Minotaur came first.
Okay, interesting. Final answer?
No, now I'm picturing. I'm picturing. I'm picturing. You know what? I'm gonna say it's made up, and here's why. Because in no, because in no picture of Ares have I ever seen him have a septum, and everyone knows Minotaurs have septums.
Yes, minotaurs always have septums. Nick, you are correct. It is false.
Oh my god! Thank God! Thank God for the septum.
Okay, question number 8. There's 10, so you've got a few more.
Before we move on, how would
Apollo.
I look with the septum? Do you think I could pull that off? Could I? Just
I'm
look a
going to say
little?
no.
I
Not that you
appreciate your
couldn't
brutal
pull it off,
honesty.
but they feel
Just
dangerous
no.
to me. And I would want to pull on it all the time. So I feel like for your own safety, you're not allowed to have a septum.
I could just imagine us hanging out and you staring at my nose like a must.
The whole time. I'm going to be like, oh, grab it. Number 8, Apollo, Olympian god of sun and light, was born on the empty island of Delos after his mother was pursued by a dragon named Python. 4 days after being born, he turned himself into a dolphin, caused a storm, and commandeered a ship to take him to Python for revenge.
Was he still the dolphin when he was piloting the ship?
So yes, I don't know. He stole. Let's say yes.
All I
For
can
the
picture is
sake
a
of
dolphin steering
argument,
a ship. Like,
I'm assuming he reverted back to hands, but maybe he was a dolphin the whole time.
Okay, this one I need help. This one I'm going to need help from the chat. And here's why. Because Apollo's a real god. I feel like him being abandoned on an island by a dragon is like super believable. But I can't get over this dolphin thing. All I can picture is a dolphin driving a boat. And that sounds ridiculous to me. So I don't know if I'm just getting hung up on this. So I need people to go in the chat and tell me whether or not, tell me the right answer.
Okay,
not
guys.
what you think, only the right answer.
Nick is officially using his lifeline. Chat, please help Nick. There is a delay, so we do have to wait a few moments. I will read the question again. Apollo, Olympian god of sun and light, was born on the empty island of Delos. After his mother was pursued by a dragon named Python, 4 days after being born, he turned himself into a dolphin, caused a storm, and commandeered a ship to take him to Python for revenge.
Still as a dolphin. Also,
I'm not going to say that.
What kind of shitty dragon name is Python? It's a shitty. That's not a dragon. That's a snake.
Maybe it's a dragon snake.
And that's very much not a dragon.
Chat is saying Python is legit.
People are saying it's true. It's tricky, but Python is a real dragon. See, I want to say it's fake just because it's a shitty Greek name for a dragon.
Nick, are you going to trust the chat? Or are you going to go be a wild card and say it's false.
Can I tell you something really honest? I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
for 2 seconds I was gonna say I think I'm gonna wait until dash 9442 answers because I feel like they know the answer, and then it
Yeah.
took me until I started talking this time to realize that they do know the answer because they made the game, and that's why they're
100%.
silent and not saying an
Yep.
opinion. And
They
I was like,
can't say
why aren't they
anything
saying it? Why aren't they saying it? I
because
was
if
like,
Darren says something,
they've been
it
here in
would
the
be
chat.
the answer.
They've been here in the chat the longest. Why aren't they saying an answer? That seems really fishy to me, but it's because they know the answer.
Yeah, 100%.
The last person said it was fake, but I'm not going to go with that person because if I count history, they're usually wrong about those things. So I'm going to say that it's real.
You're saying it's real?
Oh, that is a great point, though. So this person's saying it's like, why is Artemis mentioned? Because isn't that Apollo's? I'm going to say it's real. I'm going to say it's real. I'm going to say it's real.
Final answer?
Because of Python. I'm going to say it's real.
You're getting confused by the chat, Nick. You can't let the chat lead you astray. Are you? Each final answer?
It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real. It's real.
Nick, unfortunately, you are correct.
Oh, unfortunately for you, because I'm murdering this
Unfortunately
game.
for me.
See, thank you.
He was
See,
a dolphin
now we got
the whole
confirmation he was a dolphin the whole time.
I'm sorry. I did edit all of the questions.
Can you make a dolphin noise? As the dolphin is.
Nice.
The
dolphin
mic
noise.
cut you off because it was too high pitched.
Good.
Okay.
Aristeus was the god of various forms of art, including art. Yes, various forms of art, including cheese making and beekeeping. He married Autono, had 2 kids, and lived peacefully.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
Oh, it's a shorter one. Well, I 100% know this is fake because beekeeping wasn't a thing until like Henry VIII or some. There's like a story there, and beekeeping didn't exist yet, so it's fake.
Nick, you are incorrect.
Damn it! I was only guessing. I didn't. I know nothing about beekeeping. I just wanted to sound. If it was fake, I wanted to sound super smart and
Nick,
be like,
that
"Oh,
was
Marcus
a
didn't
big
account for the
money
fact."
move. That was
I only
a
make
big
big money
risk.
moves. I only make big money moves.
You're so confident, and now you aren't anymore. For our final question.
What's the name of the god?
Aristeus.
I've never heard.
Yeah, he's like the child of other gods. So he's the child. He's a child god of the Olympian gods.
So he's like 3rd tier god.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, give me this last one.
Okay, Dyke, goddess of justice and moral order, lived
I'm sorry.
among
What was
humans.
the name of the god?
Dyke.
Gotcha. Please continue.
Goddess of justice and moral order, lived among humans and concerned herself more with moral affairs than her mother, Themis, goddess of divine justice. However, after 2 ages of being exposed to greed and cruelty of man, she started punishing men by luring them into traps that ended in bodily dismemberment and disfigurement. As punishment, Zeus banished her from the mortal realm to live in the skies.
To live in the skies? The hell does that mean? She's a cloud now?
I don't know, maybe.
Do I need this one to win, or did I already win?
Nick, you already won.
Okay, great.
You got a majority of them correct. I think you got like 1 or 2 wrong.
Great.
2 wrong, I think.
Now there's no pressure. Now this is for fun. Let me see. So thinking about.
Or we could go by New Jersey DMV rules where you need 80%. So if you get this one wrong, you do lose.
I'll let you decide.
No, you're good.
Okay. I'm going to say that this is fake. And here's why. Why does Zeus give a fuck where the gods fucking up with like people? Like he doesn't seem to ever care. And if anything, he's usually the one fucking with people. So why all of a sudden this one decides to go and do some evil shit to people? And why is it Zeus that gives a fuck? I feel like Zeus be like, I mean, we're gods. God's got to do what a god's got to do, you know? So I'm going to say it's fake.
I remember that song in Hercules.
God's gotta do what a god's gotta do, and a god's gotta do lightning bolt.
Wow, we got that for free.
Well, we used to sing a lot more, and our fans have been hankering for it.
That's
so,
true.
You know.
That's true. We didn't get constant complaints before about the singing on the podcast.
To be fair, we got one, and we hate him.
It stayed with me forever.
I still remember that. I will never let it go.
Final answer: true or false? It's fake?
Yeah, it's fakey.
Nick, you are correct. It is fake.
Nice try, but Zeus don't give a fuck.
That's true. I mean, earlier he was like, he let Poseidon give someone a fucking bull to have sex with and was like, "Nah, I don't
Yeah.
care.
And somebody
Whatever."
saw his godly chiseled form and said, you don't get to see that shit, and burned her alive.
Oh, someone said they like when I sing. Sorry, guys. I'm retired.
Yeah, everybody knows only icing in this podcast, which is why it is subpar.
No. Okay, Nick, we're back. We're gonna go back to talking about the game Hades. Nick, you did great. Good job. Proud of
Yeah.
you.
So in total,
Killed
I
the game.
completed 27 runs in the time span, and I got to Hades, but I did not get past him. You don't happen to know what are your numbers at? Do you know how many runs you're in, or how quickly
I
or
think
how
I
long it
think
took to
I'm
get to
at like
Hades?
I think I made it there on my I think I beat Hades on my like 30 somethingth try or 40th try. Um and
You're
then
better at me than video games, but I'm not bad. That sounds right.
you're great.
Yeah, that
Um
sounds right.
but
30, 40.
you once I beat Hades, there's something else after the game, which
Yeah.
spoilers, I'm going to tell you a little bit about.
They imply that for some reason he does go back. I
Yes.
don't hold on. Oh, I played Hades on PC, on my gaming PC, like a true PC gamer.
I played it
But
on Nintendo Switch.
not like a true PC gamer because I use my Xbox remote. I don't play with that mouse and keyboard shit. You can spoil it for me if it doesn't have to do with the end game of Persephone because I'm invested.
So it does. I mean, it's entirely about like that whole thing. So I won't tell you what happens story wise, but
Okay.
after you beat Hades the first time, you do get to meet Persephone and you find out more about the world and what happened with Zagreus and what happened with Persephone and what happened with Hades. And so you are incentivized to keep playing the game and to build stronger relationships with all the characters
Cool.
and keep going on further runs, which is
That's
awesome.
great.
Like
Yeah.
I feel like the fact that the gameplay and the narrative work so well together is really impressive, also really creative. And it's one of those things that when you see it done, you're like, why wasn't this done before? Why hasn't someone else just done this?
Totally. Especially
Yeah.
when it's just lore that's already there. It's one of the reasons why Neil Gaiman is one of my favorite authors, right? Because one of the things he very famously does is he takes lore and myth that already exists and just adapts his version of that story, right? Like very famously
Yeah.
Sandman, Thor and Greek gods and Lucifer all show up and it doesn't seem out of place. It seems like just in his world, So I love it when an artist is able to take something that we already know and give it a new life, like these Greek
Yeah.
gods.
So on top of the story, after you beat the game, you're able to get you unlock more weapons. You also unlock this thing that allows you to change the difficulty of the game for yourself. So on subsequent runs, as you continue to play the game, you can change and cater the difficulty to your skill level. And so you can increase it little by little, and by changing things like the enemies do more damage, or you just have less health, or you have to beat the encounters more quickly, or the bosses just are different. So they change the way the bosses function, and then now you have to learn and adapt to a new boss style.
That sounds great for like a real gamer like you. I will be honest, that's a setting I would never touch. I would never. I don't have anything to prove to nobody.
Yeah.
I would never make it easier because that's a chump move. But it
Mhm.
would also, unless you had to beat it at one of those difficulties to get something, I would
Yeah.
never push that dial up. Never.
Well, it is also how how you get boss items, but if you keep beating the same bosses with the same items, you don't get those items anymore. So like you get a
Boss
diamond for
items.
beating Hydra
Oh, sure.
beating the Hydra for the first time, but you don't get it anymore after you beat it. So, but if you switch weapons,
Oh.
you can get it again. And then another way that is by increasing what's called the heat. So by making it more difficult, you can get those items
Ah.
again. And you need
Can
those
we?
items to upgrade the dungeon. You need them to have that final relationship. You give them nectar of the gods to build up your relationships, but to really cross
Oh, and I
over
only
to
have
being
one.
like
Right.
in a relationship with someone, you have to give them ambrosia, which I think you only have one of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the bosses really quick? Because okay, so the first boss is Meg, right? Leader of
Yeah.
the Furies, very cool design. As you already said, you got the hots for her. a good amount of difficulty, right? I would say I
Yeah,
beat Meg 50% of the time. If I
that's good.
had if I had Dionysus, not Dionysus, if I had Daedalus's hammer that gave me plus
Yeah,
health
yeah,
when I
yeah.
hit, then always could beat her. If I didn't, it's a wash. It's like half and half. Once I got the skill that lets me revive once per encounter, then it got a
Yeah.
little easier. But the second boss, the Hydra, beat him every time. Hate the Hydra sucks. The Hydra is the worst boss in Hades. Hot take. The Hydra can get the fuck out of here. I never
Uh-huh.
have a problem. I always beat him. He's
Yeah.
and here's the thing. It's so off-putting because he's so easy and then Elysium is so hard.
Elysium. So there are like a few critiques that the game gets. I would say the two biggest ones are that Elysium is way too difficult compared to the rest of the game.
Yeah, the
And
Styx was I've only gotten to Styx twice, and the first time I died because I didn't understand what poison was, and the
yeah,
second time was like pretty easy. But I've died the most in Elysium.
yeah. So
I get
Elysium
fucked in
is hard.
Elysium.
And the second complaint is that the game wants you to beat it and to unlock and to roll credits and get the like true ending of the game. So they make it gets easier and easier for you to beat the game. And I don't know, some people didn't like that. Some people wanted to stay hard and for you to have to get better like Dark Souls or something else.
Oh, I understand that because even if you suck at games like this, right? As you're playing through it, you will inevitably get unlock stuff, and the dungeon's always the same level of difficulty,
Yeah, you can
pretty
unlock
much.
things in the Mirror of Night. You can unlock
Yeah,
new weapons. You can make them more powerful. You can
more
unlock
relics
yeah,
or
you
whatever
can
they're called.
unlock those God, I'm forgetting what they're called, but the things that you carry with you so that way you can always guarantee that you run into like Apollo or I mean Athena or
It's
Ares or one of the
equipment
other
something,
gods.
and
Yeah,
then
you can
and
also
then the
get a summon from a character too if you are like really close with them. So like right now I have Meg's summon, which is like a little bat thing that she gives you, like a cute bat stuffed animal.
cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that. Oh, I love that. That's such a smart. See, this game is one of the reasons I think this game is so smart is because it doesn't shy away from. Is like, oh, this is like that one thing in that other game. We're gonna do that, and then there's this
Yeah.
other thing in this other game that's great. We're also gonna do that, and there's
Yeah.
a shitty thing in this game. We're not gonna include that, and then there's this other because nothing. Here's the thing about this game. As I'm playing it, I'm enjoying every second of it. Nothing's new. There's nothing that I've like never seen before, but everything's
Yeah.
done at such a level of like precision and specificity that it's such an enjoyable ride. But I did want to talk about how difficult and how bullshit that third boss fight is, which is Theseus and the
And the
Minotaur.
Minotaur.
I've only
I
beaten
love them.
him. I've only
I
beaten them 3 times
wow.
because no, no 2 times. I said I'd gotten to six twice. I've only beaten them
Yeah.
2 times. They are very hard. They are
They're
very
pretty
very
hard.
hard.
I was playing just to like refresh my memory for the podcast, and I think I died on them once, and I was like, "Fuck this, fuck you guys! I beat you a million times, leave me alone." But they sneak up
But
on you.
just the fact that there's two of them and they just do so much damage and it's so
Yeah,
constant. And while the one's fighting you, the other one's shooting you, or while the other one's fighting you, the other one's
I
shooting
like
you.
their relationship. So like
Yeah,
even that, like the relationships between the characters is also really interesting because like you run in, you like Orpheus is the part of the game. You meet Orpheus, and then you can find like Eurydice, who's the person that he went down into Hades to find. So you can
I love
find
that.
her, talk to her, and you can try to like mend their relationship because you're like, hey,
It's
did you
already
know
starting.
you're
Like they're
both
already
here?
saying, it's like fucking Zagreus is very much like, hey, so ran into Orpheus. He's doing pretty good. You want to say anything to him? It's very high school, and I very much love it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cute. It's so good. And I just honestly I love it. I love all the character dynamics. It's really cool. But like that too, like even that, you see Theseus and you see like he went through the maze, he fought the Minotaur, and then he's like, he died and he found the Minotaur and was like, I want him with me on the battlefield. We're friends. And it's sweet.
Oh, I didn't even realize Theseus is the one that went to the maze.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, yeah. You were talking about a relationship. I was like, I don't know that relationship. But now that I remember the story now, oh, that is
Mhm.
really cool. That's such a small thing that if you know, you know, and oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Who is your
Well,
favorite character before we start wrapping up?
do you know how Theseus got through the maze?
No, I do not.
Well, the trick to a maze is as you're going in, you touch one wall and you just keep following that wall, and it might take long, but no matter what, you won't get lost and you will find the way out.
What if the wall has razor blades on it? What if it's like a
Well, funny
saw maze?
funny story, a haunted Halloween, my family and I went to a haunted house, and one of the rooms we went to, once you go through the door, it's closed behind you and it's pitch dark. Like
Yeah, yeah,
there's no light source, there's zero. So we all had to hold
yeah.
hands, and my family was freaking out. I was like, guys, I know how to get through here. And we follow the wall all the way around, and then we end up back where we started. And then I was like, guys, I'm freaking out. I don't know. There's no other way out. I don't know what to do. And then one of the workers like opened up a secret passage, and I was like, fuck. I was like, I was so cocky. I was like, I got this, guys.
That's so funny.
Um, I don't know. I'll tell you. I'll tell you. Tell me yours first. Who's your favorite, and who did you use the most, and who do you like using the most, and who do you hate?
I would say that I really liked I liked Meg a lot. I feel like Thanatos grew on me a lot. I was like, who's this hot Grim Reaper guy? I want to
I
know
was about
about
to bring him
him.
up. The sexual tension is like
Yeah.
livid,
Yeah,
off the
yeah.
charts.
It's
I think
so
I want to
good.
make a relationship with him if I can. He's hot.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Just give him the nectar of the gods and see how he reacts.
Ooh, he kills me.
Let me quickly look up Hades characters off the top.
Okay, I can tell you the one that I find myself using the most. It's cool because for if I don't know who's still listening who hasn't played the game, but the great part about these gods is when you're forming these relationships and you pick their boons to play in the game, you are kind of picking your what do you call it? Your version of this run, right? So if you
Yeah.
pick Zeus, you have lightning power. If you pick Hermes, he gives you faster things. If you pick Athena, her thing is deflect, you know? The one
Hmm.
that I found the most useful to get the farthest, that is how I got to Hades the first time, was Dionysus. For whatever reason, Dionysus has, I forget what it's called, but it's what
The
is it called?
hangover
Weaken?
effect.
Hangover. I
Yeah.
found that to be the most useful because the great thing about the hangover effect is you hit somebody a couple times, shit gets crazy, you got to get the fuck out of there. They're still taking damage because they still have that hangover on them. And
Hmm.
especially if you add it to your dash or something passive like that, I've found that has been the easiest for my playstyle because I'm a very much hit go hit go like you
Yeah,
have to
yeah.
do, and I found that passive damage for that has been the best for me so far. I think like Artemis, her critical is very complicated. Our Ares stuff is complicated and doesn't
Yeah,
have has a direct benefit. It's like a later benefit, so I can't do it. Aphrodites are nice. Weakening enemies does help quite a bit. But those are some of
yeah.
my standouts.
I feel like my favorite boon to use is honestly Athena. That's the best boon, hands down.
I like
I
Athena.
like my best runs are when I get the Athena dash. Like
And
I
Athena,
don't like to do
Dionysus
a run
together
without
was
Athena.
how I got to Hades.
Just being able
I
to
had like 3
deflect
of
all
each of
that
those.
shit, especially when you're in a room full of like those fucking wizard dudes that throw the purple orbs at you and you just dash and hit them.
So
Oh,
easy.
so good. I like that boon the best, and I feel like the chill. I like Ares' boon a lot when you can throw
Oh,
the scythe and it like just spins and just does a bunch of damage.
oh, I haven't never picked that one because I find that the cast is useful, but it's
Yeah.
not crucial in my playstyle. So I almost never. It's always my
I
the
thought
fifth
that
the fifth
too.
boon I pick.
In the beginning, I thought that too, and then I found that like the cast can be helpful. And there's like
Mhm.
interesting things like if you combine it with Artemis, the cast, if it gets stuck, you know how sometimes the cast, depending on what your cast is, will get stuck inside someone. When it
Yeah.
leaves, it does like 100 damage each, so you can stack damage that way. You can also
Mm.
do there's something where when you're waiting, the casts are waiting to be picked up. Zeus has an ability where it casts lightning next to whoever is there. So you're just doing a bunch of
Oh,
damage while it's on the field, which is really good.
while you're over there running away from their big attacks.
Yeah. Yeah. Or using the bow and arrow and shooting people from afar.
I can't use the. I mean, to be fair, I only tried that. Listen,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
burned me.
Yeah.
I tried a different weapon for that one run, and then in like the 15 or 16, I was like, let me see what the shield about, and I was like, hate it. Let me use the spear, hate it. And then I was like, sword all the way. When I complete the game with the sword, master the game with the sword,
Yeah.
I will go and try to master another weapon. I'm not one of
I
those
love
people
the
that can go
gun.
back and forth.
The gun is my favorite one because reloading it sucks, but if you upgrade it with the Daedalus Hammer, you don't have to reload. There's also another upgrade that makes it just a huge bomb that has a huge area effect, but you also take damage if you're in it. So it's super dangerous to use. That's my favorite one.
Bazooka.
I just bazooka everything and bomb it.
Yes,
And
I'm
like,
excited
fuck
to
yeah,
unlock it.
room clear.
The
Okay,
next
Nick.
run that I start, I'm about to unlock the hand thing.
Oh,
The hand one.
nice.
That
The hand's
it's like
pretty
there,
fun.
and I just got enough keys. Who do you like the most in terms of like story and stuff? Like, is
Story, I
like
feel like
aesthetic
just the core
god
story is
wise?
very good. This
Yeah.
core story is very good. So like Persephone and Hades, like they grew on me and I fucking love them. I also love the relationship with Orpheus and Eurydice, just seeing how they are together too.
That one's really
It's really
nice.
fun.
And
Yeah.
also, you know the story a little bit, so it's like you kind of want it to
Yeah.
work out, you know.
And Zagreus, like, I don't know. Zagreus is just a great protagonist. He's really interesting.
Oh,
He's
we
fun,
haven't mentioned it a
hot-headed.
lot, but I do want to mention it at least a little. Is you mentioned it a little in passing? Is the voice acting, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
the
so
guy who
good.
plays Zagreus is pitch perfect.
Nick,
Hold on. Hello.
are you ready? It's time for you to answer the age-old questions
I feel like I
that
want to
we
keep talking
have
about
on
the
this
game because of how
podcast.
great it was. But I guess we can
Nick,
wrap up.
did you like this game?
Oh, Marcus, it
I'm
is.
waiting with bated breath.
I didn't mention it too much because I have a problem playing video games because I don't know if my attention span has grown wary. I don't know if I feel guilty, but like I have tried to sit down and play Assassin's Creed and play some real games that I used to be able to sit down and enjoy. But after a couple hours, I'm just like, okay, all right, killing the guy again, doing the thing again. And then the stories aren't as good, you know. And I don't have a modern gaming system, so I can't play Last of Us 2. I can't play Spider Man. So I find myself at a loss. I found myself playing Hollow Knight and Slay the Spire for the last like 3 years because I haven't been able to find another game that I like have enjoyed to really to say out loud that this is a game I play
Yeah.
until now because of how much I love Hades.
Yeah.
I am
Say it
so
loud, say
excited.
it proud.
I am
You love Hades.
it was such a wonderful experience. I'm so excited to learn more of the story, the characters. The gameplay is great. It feels rewarding, but it feels difficult. You feel accomplished. It doesn't zone out in the background because you have to play it, but it doesn't feel like a chore either because the grinding aspect is folded into the gameplay, so it doesn't feel
Yeah.
like a Final Fantasy where I gotta go fucking kill chocobos to get through the main
the grindy part of
game.
it makes you better also as a player. Whereas the grinding in Final Fantasy is just grinding. You're making the characters better. But the
to get your
grinding
orbs.
in Hades makes you as the player better, which is great.
Yeah,
It's a
I'm
good
getting
feeling.
better, which is such a smart, it's so rewarding. It's so cool seeing that I'm getting better. Yes, I'm getting more
Yeah.
upgrades. Yes, I'm getting smarter about which boons to pick, what things interact, figuring out the interactions. But my gameplay, like at the beginning, I told you I could only get so far by getting the +2 to my health when I hit something. And it's still nice when that shows up because it's still my go-to thing to get because
But
it's very useful. But now I could get to Elysium and get to the third boss without that, and I couldn't do that at the beginning regardless of power-ups, and it's pretty cool.
It's so good. I mean, that's why the games like Dark Souls,
I forgot we're on
Sekiro-
stream and I was slouching.
That's why games like Dark Souls and Sekiro and Bloodborne are so popular, is because like the only way to beat them is for you to get good as a player. So it's not as hard as that stuff. Like this game is definitely not like difficult. Like you get better and the game makes it easier for you. But it is that same kind of feeling where you as a player are getting better, which is cool.
Yeah, it's not like Bloodborne.
It's more rewarding.
It's not like Bloodborne because I downloaded Bloodborne during the pandemic and I was like, let me play this game. And I spent maybe 2 hours, couldn't get past the first boss. And I was like, I'm never playing this game again.
I love Bloodborne. Don't shit
It's
on
so
it.
hard. It's so hard. Or no, it was Dark Souls. It was
Dark Souls. Okay,
was
Dark Souls is different. Okay, Nick, will you keep playing Hades?
Marcus, I am so excited to learn about Persephone. I apologize. I tried so every time I died, especially when I was so close to the end, my heart broke because I was like, I know Marcus wants me to finish this because I know he's gonna want to talk about the ending because I'm sure he's as invested in it as I am right now.
100%.
And I was heartbroken, gut wrenched that I had to stop you from talking about it. But but I couldn't let you because I'm so invested and I need to find out the completion of the story and
It's
find out
so
more.
good. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's definitely
I'm ready to cry.
worthwhile.
I'm
Yeah,
ready to cry.
100%. You probably cry. Okay, would you recommend the game?
100%. And the great thing about it is it's not I would recommend this game to gamers. I would
Mhm.
recommend this game to casual players. I would recommend this game to people who haven't ever played this kind of game. I would recommend it to friends who just do Animal Crossing, that just like have a Switch and like playing Mario Kart on it. You know, the fact
Yeah.
that it's across all these platforms is somebody said I'm ready to cry, and I am because I'm pumped about this game. It's such a perfect game because games like this reward you for playing it. And they don't dumb it
Yeah.
down for you. You play how you want to play, and if you need to take it easy and go slow, you can. And if you need to be a button masher, you can. And if you need to
Yeah.
be a by the books gamer that optimizes everything that bit by bit get that it's also
You
rewarding
can
that way.
also. It's
Yeah.
an incredible game. The speedrun community is great. It's been I've never I don't like I like watching
Oh,
speedruns,
speed runs.
but
Oh,
like
that would
I've
be
been
fun.
watching a lot of Hades videos just to watch people try to play through it.
I'm excited to
It's
watch
so
them.
fun. It's really, really
How is
interesting
it on
to
the
see
Switch?
what
Is it
people.
great?
It's fun. It's just another controller. So like
Yeah, great.
I play on the bus a lot, like to and
Yeah.
from work and stuff. It's been good.
Seems perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Nick, next time on the podcast,
Ooh, I'm excited.
you normally would be giving me a challenge.
Normally, this would
But
be my boon to give.
beautiful. Perfect
Thank you.
joke.
Thank you,
10
thank
out
you.
of 10.
Thank you.
But Christmas is next week and the New Year's is the following Thursday.
Yes.
So we're gonna take a little break. We're gonna still put out content online. We might do a stream here or there. We'll see how things go. So stay tuned. Keep an eye out on social media.
We will be playing Halo.
Hades.
We will be playing Hades on the stream at
Yes.
some point soon, so watch out for that, guys.
Yeah.
You get to see me floundering and Marcus
I'm
judge
very
every move I
interested.
make.
I'll coach you the whole way. It'll be great.
Honestly, I one of the things that we don't get to do enough is because we don't live together anymore, because we're not in
Yeah.
college anymore. We can't. Every time we do stuff, because we're adults now, it has to be a plan, right? We are
Yeah.
going to board game night. We are going here to watch this movie. We can't just like lounge around and you start playing a game and I just kind of watch you, and I miss it so much.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't even know. I don't get that sappy with you like face to face. But
Yeah.
one of my favorite things is just you're sitting there, you just put on a game, you're just watching it, and I'm just there with you, and vice versa. You know,
Yeah.
I love that part of our friendship, and we haven't been able to do it for so long that I'm excited to pick it back up.
Me too. I mean, I have very fond memories of us all playing Resident Evil 7 together, like with the lights
Yeah.
off and making
Oh, that
sure
was
that
so
like
fun.
it was the spookiest setting we could have for the game.
And it was super special to me because you've been playing games like that with your brother for years. This is
Yeah.
this is why you love video games, right? You didn't mention it today, but you play video games because it's one of the ways you connected with your brother growing up, right? It's why you have that
Yeah.
challenge every year. But and you were gonna play that Resident Evil like you have done every Resident Evil
Mhm.
always with your brother, and you I'm not gonna cry. You were shut up. And you were kind enough, and you weren't even kind enough to include me. You legitimately wanted me there too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I ever said it, but it was like one of the most it was one of the most meaningful it was one of
Oh.
the most meaningful things that you've ever done for me. That was passive, right? Like you do
Yeah,
thoughtful
100%.
things for me all the time, and I'd like to think I'm pretty thoughtful too. But this was like a passive thing that you did without even like thinking about it, and you're just like, "Oh, I want Nick here too," and you included me there in your special
Oh.
brother moment. And I also like became better friends with Matthew there, and we were always
Yeah.
like kind of friends, but we like have now become friends, and it
Mhm.
was
It was
anyway,
beautiful.
what were you just saying? What were you-
Guys, video games matter. Video games make people feel things. They connect us. I love them so much. Honestly, I bond through video games with my friends all the time, and I'm so happy. Of course, I wanted you there. Like, yes, it was a great experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week, well, not next week, but next time we record, which will be in January, we are going to be doing a fan challenge episode from our Patreon. So
Oh, so
the way
excited.
you can participate is if you donate $5 onto our Patreon, you can submit an episode, send us a message on Patreon, and we will add it to the list. And then everyone gets to vote. If you just want to vote and participate that way, you can become a $1 tier patron as well. If not, come and enjoy the episode when we record it.
But know that you missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime. You could have influenced the choice, and you will feel awful about that the whole rest of the month. But don't worry, because at the end of January, we're doing it again for February.
Yeah, I mean, if in January we end up doing Bratz the movie or something, or
Oh, Marcus, I've wanted to give you Bratz the movie for years. I love that film.
Or we end up doing something that you hate, and you're like, fuck this, then you know what? It's your fault for not joining the Patreon.
The end sequence of the movie goes, it's not a latitude, it's not a satitude or something, it's not a vinegar, it's gratitude. It's the ending song.
No.
Because yes, it's a musical. There's multiple musical numbers.
I love this new like fan challenge thing every month because it saves me like from you for 1 week. Just for 1 week I get off.
Ooh, be careful what you wish for, buddy. Be careful what you wish for, because at least I have to give you things that I legitimately love, so at least there's an interesting conversation. Yeah. They can give us trash. We could get straight that nobody cares about. It can be just it's gonna happen. I feel like people are gonna be super kind at first. Like we're only gonna get great things for the first couple months. But give it a couple months, man. Give it like 4 or 5 months, and people be like, "What kind of trash can we give to the boys this month?" And it's their prerogative because they're paying for it.
I have faith in our patrons that they have good taste and that we're gonna get good quality ideas from them. That's what I'm saying.
Before we go, I do just want to reference the chat because someone says that they're going to suggest American Mall 2. American Mall, one of my favorite films that I made you watch.
I
go
hated
back
that
and listen to
movie
the episode
so much. Go listen to the episode.
It's one of the worst movies ever. I love it. And then somebody else and I didn't think of this, and they said secretly, I'm going to go make multiple Patreon accounts to suggest more stuff. That's a genius idea.
Don't do that. Why would you do that? Why would you give him that idea?
Well, here's the thing. That means more of you have to sign up to stop me from being able to do it, because I only have so much money. You need to beat me.
That's true.
This is a race to the finish. Race to the finish. All right, Marcus. That was the episode. Guys,
do you want me to close it?
Yeah. I didn't know if you were going to mention our socials and
go ahead. Go do the socials.
To do reviews again. Guys, you can find us everywhere at Now Try This Cast, everywhere that you could follow somebody. Patreon is patreon.com/NowTryThisCast. Don't forget to leave those 5-star reviews on wherever you listen to your podcast. Marcus?
Guys, thank you so much for joining us in the Twitch chat, for listening, wherever the hell you are listening to us. And go out there and try some things.
And remember, if you want Marcus to know the Gratitude song, you know what to do.
Etude. Goodbye.
Bye.
Two friends get together so that they can try things. You're invited to this podcast so that they can try things. Nick and Marcus doing a podcast so that they can try this.
Or maybe you want me to because you need to drink water.
No, I got it.
Like a fucking simp over here. Like you can't fucking go 15 seconds without having to take a drink of water.
Simp has been banned from Twitch. You cannot say simp anymore.
Is that true?
Please. 100%. It happened today.
Wait, really? Oh no.
Apparently you can't type simp or virgin or incel in the chat anymore.
Because too many of them got offended?
I mean, no, I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just, I don't know.
Can I curse in a chat?
No, I don't think so. Try. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Hey guys in the chat, tell me what curse words I should say in the chat, please.
Okay, but while they're doing that, I'm going to say that
so they get banned and I don't.
Hades is a rogue-like dungeon crawling game. There you go.
Yeah, someone said fuck, yeah. Apparently,
I guess,
but you can't say the S word, so
I don't know whose chat it's banned from, but I don't know.